I want you to just look at the date on your phone. It's Thursday, February 12, 2026.
Right.
And if you've been on social media at all or, glanced at the news in India in the last couple of days, you've probably seen an image that just feels wrong.
Dissonant. It's really dissonant.
Yeah. You have Rajpal Yadav, a man who he's basically defined a whole genre of comedy for Bollywood fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The guy makes you laugh just by showing up on screen.
And he is currently sitting in a cell in Tihar Jail.
It's a huge shock to the system. We're so used to seeing him as this frantic, energetic, comic relief.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him in the context of Tihar, surrendering to police, it feels like a movie script that's gone horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a movie.
No. This is a very real, very stark 16-year-old financial nightmare that's finally, it seems, caught up with it.
That really does.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. Because I think a lot of people see the headline, comedian jailed, and they just think, oh, it's tabloid gossip.
Or just bad financial planning. A celebrity being irresponsible.
Right. But when you actually dig into the court documents, the history of this whole case, and this sudden explosion of activity from Bollywood in the last 2 days, it's so much more than that.
It really is. It's a case study in just how precarious the film industry can be.
Yeah.
And the brutal mechanics of Indian insolvency law.
And the strange, almost tribal loyalty of Bollywood's elite.
That too.
Right. So we've got a lot to get through. We need to talk about this rescue list because apparently half of Bollywood is trying to bail him out right now.
Yeah, the names are incredible.
We also have breaking news from a hearing that literally just happened a few hours ago today. But before we get to the solution, I really want to understand the problem.
Okay.
How does Rajpal Yadav, a guy who's been in hundreds of movies, end up owing crores and facing jail time?
To get that, you have to rewind the clock way back, all the way to 2010.
Okay.
And you have to understand where he was in his career.
Yeah.
He was ubiquitous. He was in everything.
Yeah.
But, like a lot of actors who hit a certain ceiling.
He wanted more. More creative control.
Exactly. He didn't just want to be the guy who gets slapped for a laugh. He wanted to be the storyteller.
That makes perfect sense. It's the classic trajectory. You master the craft, then you want to direct.
So he decides to produce and direct his own film, a satire called Pata Laapata.
Right.
Now, making a movie, it's not like opening a cafe. The capital you need is massive. So in 2010, he takes a loan. The principal amount was Rs 5 crore.
And I think that's a key point because people hear celebrity debt and they assume
That he bought a villa in Dubai or a fleet of sports cars?
Yeah, exactly. A lavish lifestyle.
No, this was strictly business capital. He borrowed the money to make art. He was betting on himself.
He believed the movie would work.
He thought it would launch the next phase of his career. The box office would be great. He'd pay back the 5 crore plus interest. And, everyone goes home happy.
But the house usually wins the
Yeah.
movie. It didn't work.
It flopped. And this is where it gets really important. If you're a big corporation and your product fails, you might file for bankruptcy. It's a civil matter. But in Indian film financing, especially back then, these loans often came with personal guarantees and post-dated checks.
Ah, and when you write a check that you can't cash.
You've just stepped into the world of criminal law. Specifically, Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. It criminalizes bouncing a check
So it stopped being a bad investment.
and became a criminal offense instantly.
Okay, so that's 2010. We're in 2026. That's 16 years. How does a 5 crore loan become this? I mean, 5 crore is a lot of money, but over 16 years for a working actor, it feels like something you could handle. Why did it balloon?
That is the curse of compound interest and legal penalties. The reports now suggest the total claim against him has swelled to nearly Rs 9 crore.
Wow, so it almost doubled.
Pretty much. You have the original 5 crore plus years of unpaid interest plus all the legal costs from fighting this in court for a decade and a half. It's a snowball effect.
And he has been fighting it. This isn't his first time in trouble for this specific loan, right?
Not at all. If you look at the timeline, back in 2018, a magistrate's court actually sentenced him and his wife to 6 months in jail.
Wait, I vaguely remember that. He actually served time, didn't he?
He did. He served about 3 months of that sentence. So when we say he's in Tihar today, it's not his first rodeo. He knows what it's like.
So what happened after that?
Well, the legal system generally prefers getting the money back over just keeping someone in prison. So he was let out, and the legal battles just kept going.
Until the high court got involved again.
Yes. In 2024, the High Court suspended his sentence. It was basically a lifeline. The judge was saying, okay, we're pausing the jail time. We're giving you a real window to settle this.
It was a put up or shut up moment.
It really was. And unfortunately, the repayment just, it didn't happen. So now, this week, Justice Varun Dhawan Sharma, who's presiding, she essentially ran out of patience.
What did she say?
She noted in her remarks that he'd failed to honor settlement commitments, despite, and I'm quoting here, multiple opportunities. She criticized his conduct, and that's what led to the surrender.
That moment he surrendered, I saw the clip. It was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
For a guy who's so animated all the time, he just looked completely defeated. He said, "What can I do? I have no money to pay. I am all alone."
I am all alone. That phrase, it lands so hard.
It does. It's the classic sad clown paradox, isn't it? A man who has brought joy to millions, worked with all the biggest names, and in his darkest moment, he feels like there is nobody in his corner.
It creates this profound sense of isolation.
Yeah.
You have to imagine, when you're in a financial hole that deep, the shame is a huge factor. You withdraw.
Right.
His manager, Goldie, gave an interview that shed some light on it. He talked about the pressure on the family. Because Rajpal isn't just an actor, he's a father, a husband.
Of course.
Goldie mentioned that the family's trying to stay strong mentally, but it's tough. And he dropped this very human detail. There are family functions, weddings, scheduled for later this month. And the family is just desperately hoping he gets released in time for them. So the clock is ticking on a personal level, not just a legal one.
But this is where the plot twists. Because while Rajpal felt alone walking into that jail,
He was completely wrong.
the reaction from the industry in the last 48 hours proves he was so wrong.
And this is the Bollywood rescue mission we need to unpack. Because the moment that image of him surrendering went viral, it was like a signal flare went up over Mumbai.
His manager, Goldie, started revealing who was calling.
And it wasn't just well-wishers sending, thoughts and prayers. It was the heavy artillery of Bollywood.
We are talking the A-list.
The absolute top tier. Salman Khan, Ajay Devgn. These aren't just actors, they're industries in themselves. When they get involved, things move.
I saw Varun Dhawan's name on that list, too.
Yes, Varun Dhawan, and maybe more significantly, his father, David Dhawan.
That one feels personal. Rajpal and David Dhawan, they have a huge history. Partner, Mujhse Shazi Karogi.
They were a dynamic duo for years. And that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
David Dhawan personally calling the manager. That suggests an emotional connection, not just professional courtesy.
True. And then, of course, Sonu Sood.
I feel like Sonu Sood is basically the unspoken ministry of crisis management for India now.
Right. If someone is in trouble, he just appears.
He's like the emergency response infrastructure. But what's really fascinating here is the transparency of the numbers. Usually this stuff is all undisclosed amounts and secret transfers.
But not this time. I was reading about a music director who pledged a very specific amount.
Right. Music director Rao Inderjeet Singh Yadav. He didn't just say, I'll help. He pledged exactly Rs 1.11 crore.
1.11. That is such a specific number. Is there some meaning to that?
There is. In Indian culture, ending a monetary gift with the number 1, like a 101 rupees, is considered shagun. It's auspicious.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it signifies that the sum is a blessing, and it implies that this is just the beginning of more prosperity. So pledging 1.11 crore isn't just a financial transaction, it's a culturally coded message of good luck.
So he's not just paying a debt, he's trying to break the bad luck streak.
Precisely. And he went even further. He shared Rajpal's bank details on social media.
You're kidding?
No. He essentially turned an insolvency case into a crowdfunding campaign. He urged people to deposit whatever they could.
That is wild. And it wasn't just film people, right? Some politicians got involved.
Yep. Politician Tej Pratap Yadav announced he'd assist with Rs 11 lakh, and then the wild card, KRK.
Kamal Khan, of course. You can't have a Bollywood controversy without him inserting himself into the narrative somehow.
He's inevitable, but to his credit, he put his money where his mouth is. He stated he would contribute Rs 10 lakh.
So you've got this coalition of Salman Khan, a politician, a music director, and KRK. It's the most chaotic, diverse group imaginable, all rallying for Rajpal.
It is.
Okay, so you have this massive outpouring of support, pledges of crores. The biggest stars are making calls. So why is he still in a jail cell right now? Why didn't he just walk out this afternoon?
That is where the cold, hard logistics of finance crash into emotional support. Manager Goldie made a really practical point. He said, commitments are made, But such transactions don't happen overnight.
You can't just Venmo a court settlement.
Exactly. Moving almost 9 crore isn't like splitting a dinner bill. Large transfers trigger compliance checks. You have to liquidate assets, move funds, then you have to get that into a form the court accepts, like a demand draft. There's a lag time.
Which brings us to today, Thursday, February 12th, the hearing that happened a few hours ago. We have an update from his lawyer, Bhaskar Upadhyay. What went down?
The headline is this: the math has changed dramatically. The lawyer stood up in court and claimed that 50% of the outstanding amount has now been cleared.
50%, that's huge. So in the span of, 48 hours, they managed to pull together half the debt?
That's the power of that rescue list.
Yeah.
Specifically, out of the original 5 crore principal, the lawyer said Rs 2.5 crore has been paid.
That has to count for something with the judge. I mean, usually debtors are asking for more time to find the money. Here, they're showing up with the cash.
It's a massive show of good faith. And the lawyer also mentioned negotiations are underway about the 2012 agreement. They're trying to restructure the rest of the debt.
The argument being, we paid half, let him out on bail so he can work and earn the rest.
That's the logical argument. You can't earn money to pay creditors from a jail cell.
What?
But, and there's always a but, in legal procedures, the court couldn't just open the doors. The bail application required a formal response from the opposing party.
The people he owes the money to.
Exactly. The creditor has rights too. They need to verify the funds have cleared, review the new settlement offer. They can't just take the lawyer's word for it. So their counsel sought an adjournment.
Legalese for, let's kick this can down the road.
Pretty much. Let's come back later.
Yeah.
The court granted it. The next hearing is now set for Monday.
Monday, so he has to spend the whole weekend in Tihar.
He does. And that is a tough psychological blow.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
The lawyer, Upadhyay, said he's planning to visit Rajpal in jail to explain the situation. He has to go in and say, look, your friends came through, the money is there, but the paperwork is stuck until Monday.
Man, those weekends in custody, when the courts are closed and nothing can move, that has to be the longest 48 hours of your life.
It's the waiting that breaks people. Knowing the solution is right there, just out of reach.
So we've covered the origin, the human cost, the rescue mission, the legal delay. But as we look at this whole saga, I keep getting stuck on one thing.
What's that?
It's the timing of it all. And I want your take on this because it feels like there's a deeper lesson here about how this industry works.
I think I know where you're going with this.
The support is incredible. It is heartwarming to see Salman and Ajay step up, but it happened after he went to jail.
After the humiliation.
Right. After the headlines screamed, Rajpal Yadav in Tihar. This debt has been building for 16 years. He went to jail for it in 2018. It wasn't a secret. So why does it take the visceral image of a beloved comedian behind bars to finally activate the checkbooks?
It's the ambulance phenomenon. And it's a very provocative and honestly a very difficult question. It speaks to the difference between having systemic support and just crisis charity.
Exactly. Is it that people didn't know how bad it was? Or is it that in an industry worth billions, everyone is just so focused on their own race that they don't look sideways until someone crashes and burns?
It could be a mix of both. There's also pride. Maybe Rajpal didn't ask for help until he hit absolute rock bottom. But it definitely highlights a precarious model.
Yeah.
If the safety net in Bollywood relies on the benevolence of 5 or 6 super rich superstars stepping in at the last possible second, what happens if you're not friends with Salman Khan?
That's the terrifying part. If you're a character actor who just kept to himself and your passion project flops, do you just rot in jail?
That's the fear. It reinforces this idea of Bollywood as a tribe or a family. And like a lot of families, they might ignore your problems for years.
But the moment an outsider, in this case the legal system, threatens one of their own,
they close ranks instantly.
It's a powerful, tight-knit network, but it's a reactive one.
Very reactive. And I think that's the thought to leave everyone with. We can celebrate the rescue because it's a good thing he's getting help. But we should also ask why the rescue mission only launches when the tragedy is already on the front page.
A RS5 Crore lesson in finance, friendship, and the timing of charity.
Indeed.
We will be watching very closely to see what happens on Monday. Hopefully we're talking about a release order. Until then, thanks for diving deep with us.
Stay curious.